A growing number of people are professing a relationship with Jesus Christ, but they've opted out of the church. People are thinking the church has too many problems. It's too institutional. I can just go up to the woods by myself, just me and Jesus. But is this really a good idea? Now, I'm not just talking about going to church. Church attendance is not really the issue. The issue is connecting with God's people in a meaningful, consistent way. If you're a Christian, do you need that? The answer is an unwavering yes. Now, to begin with, we don't need the church in order to be saved. That's a matter of turning from our sin and our self-directed life and putting our trust in Jesus alone, what he accomplished on the cross and when he rose from the dead. But that doesn't mean church is unimportant. Now, the fact that God created the church informs us that God never intended Christianity to be lived out solo. The Bible doesn't have any concept of an individualistic spirituality. In fact, in the New Testament, we never ever see a follower of Jesus who's not connected with the church. A Christian who's not connected with God's people is like a football player without a team. It's like a tuba player without an orchestra. It's really a lot like someone who gets married but never moves in with their spouse. Sure, you can be legally married and live apart, but a real marriage involves relationship. So why do we need the church if our salvation doesn't depend on it? Well, basically, we need the church in order to grow in our faith, in order to become effective and to fulfill everything God intends for us in our lives. We need the church. We do need the church in order to grow in our faith because we need input from other followers of Jesus. Hebrews chapter 3 says, "Be careful then, dear brothers and sisters, make sure that your own hearts are not evil and unbelieving, turning away from the living God. You must warn each other every day while it is still today, so that none of you will be deceived by sin and hardened against God." And so we need warning and we need encouragement from other Christians. You know, there are plenty of sermons available online that you could listen to. There are great books on Christianity you can order. But the Christian life is not just knowledge and information. It's a lifestyle. And what we learn and what we know has to transform us, and for that we need relationships with people. Now, secondly, we do need the church because we need compassionate care from real people. Not only do we need accountability, but we need an arm around the shoulder sometimes. Romans 12 verse 15 says, "Weep with those who weep." Man, we need people who will weep with us, and that happens for people who are connected with the church. The third reason we need the church is because we need partners in fulfilling Jesus' mission in the world. In Philippians chapter 1, the Apostle Paul writes, "For you have been my partners in spreading the good news about Christ from the time you first heard it until now." Paul, as he wrote to the Philippians, expressed how much he needed and valued having partners in spreading the good news, and so do we. But not only do we have these reasons why we need the church, but it's really not about us and not just about what benefits us. Think about it like this: the church should matter to us because it matters to Jesus. Now, I know the church will never be perfect because people will never be perfect, but you should understand how much the church means to Jesus. Look at Ephesians chapter 5. "For husbands, this means love your wives just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her." Jesus loves the church so much that he died for it. The comparison here is to marriage, and along those same lines, Revelation calls the church the bride of Christ. That's how he feels about his church, like a bride. And it's really pretty inconceivable to me to imagine that Jesus is happy with people who just want to hang out with him but don't want any relationship with the bride he loves. It's like people who say they love him but they don't like his wife. What's up with that? Now, I'm not saying that every particular local church is equally healthy. There are congregations out there that probably ought to be avoided. But every Christian needs to find a way to connect with the people of God in a meaningful, consistent way. Connect in relationships that change you and connect with others to fulfill the mission of Jesus together. So why don't you take a minute and talk about why we all really do need the church?